Hello again, I'm still Ben. Back to the hat to see what our next topic is. Terrorism, foreign and domestic. Well, there's been quite a lot of that going on, hasn't there? Pretty much all the time. As a political policy, my view on terrorism is that you can't fight an idea. All right? The idea of this war on terror that we got sold, more than 20 years ago now, it was ridiculous to begin with, and it's still ridiculous. In fact, I really disagree with a lot of the conventional government ways that, for instance, the FBI and military are trained, or at least were, maybe about 10 or 15 years ago, for counterterrorism. I took a class briefly because I dropped it with the professor who was responsible for writing the handbooks that they used on that federal level. In fact, one time she was late to class by about a half an hour because she was still on the phone with Washington. But I dropped out of that class because I believe she was completely wrong in the fundamental way to go about terrorism. You can't stop terrorism as an idea. You can't fight ideas. That's ridiculous. Functionally, you have to ask why people want to disrupt an otherwise peaceful society. That's what it gets down to. And domestically, there seems to be a whole lot of hatred here, and bigotry and racism and all the things we know about, which is why it's happening so much on this scale. But we're also aware enough of how interconnected global finance and, government authority and the ultra wealthy elite are all together in bed with each other, trying to control everything for their own benefit. So we do need a level of security away from such things, but there's no way to guarantee it other than being good and being better. The idea that the United States has so many foreign enemies, that there's going to be so much foreign terrorism, that is what always gets sold to we, the American public, that, if we're not pumping money into our military, the terrorists abroad are going to attack us again. Oh, there's so many enemies of America. Hey, why are there so many enemies of America? Is it maybe because we've been the bad guys for at least about 80 or 90 years now? Minimum? Yeah, okay. The real issue is the domestic terrorism we're seeing from the state. That's pretty much constant, and it always has been, and it's been hushed up on every level. So in order to deal with terrorism as a policy, we need to first address the terrorism in all of our policing and in all of our federal agencies and within our military itself. That's the way you fight terrorism. You weed out the people who want to do harm for the sake of doing harm, because that's kind of what the definition is, even though, again, it's an idea. You cannot fight an idea. My name's Ben Howerson. Sursum Corda.